Let me tell you of the days of high adventure.
Hello, I'm Kevin.
And I'm Eric.
And this is 6 Degrees of Schwarzenegger, the podcast where we take a long, hard look back at some of our favorite action movies from the era of Arnold.
Schwarzenegger is the icon of the genre, and we're taking a deep dive into some of these 80s and 90s cult action movies and breaking them all the way down. I maintain that you have a much better Arnold impersonation than I do.
Practice makes perfect. I've been doing it way too long, but welcome back, everyone, to 6 Degrees of Schwarzenegger. I'm Kevin. That's Eric. We're going to be just treated to see just how drunk Eric's going to get tonight.
We're going to see. I'm halfway through a second bottle of wine.
I know. I would die if I tried to do that. So I'm sticking with whiskeys. I've switched to Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Rye.
I'm still on the same bottle that we had last week.
Look, you're not going to get a third bottle tonight.
No, that is not
friends.
happening. I'm not going to ask for a third bottle.
So pace yourselves, listeners and Eric. Welcome to everyone who's listening on the Last of the Action Heroes podcast network. Thanks for joining us. Also, if you're listening to us there, check us out on our own feed, the 6 Degrees of Schwarzenegger feed. Check us out on social media because Eric's making things happen over there.
I do. I have fun times with it now.
And we'll talk more about Red Dawn, this fucking bizarro 80s alternative reality movie, I guess. John Milius directed it and sort of did a final pass on the script. He's admitted that he's this sort of war fetishist almost, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like he tried to volunteer for the Vietnam War, but he was rejected because he had asthma.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I did read that. Yeah.
He said in interviews that he feels like, because he missed out on his war, he feels like he's been obsessed with war ever since. And this came up, I think, on the Conan the Barbarian podcasts, but that movie was written by Oliver Stone. And Oliver Stone is like the flip side, I feel like, to that coin where they were both these sort of privileged dudes. Basically, if you don't know Oliver Stone, the movie Platoon is sort of autobiographical to his story. He was an Ivy Leaguer, I think, who dropped out of Ivy League and enlisted in the Marines because he felt like it wasn't fair that rich kids were getting to duck the war and poor kids weren't or whatever. But he went and saw combat in Vietnam and he emerged very left wing and very anti-war and everything like this. And then meanwhile, Milius, who was on the same path but got turned down for military service, he comes away very right wing and war is glorious and all this. And I think it's fascinating that the dude who actually saw war is no, war is fucked.
I don't want to.
And the dude who didn't see war is war is awesome. War is where men find glory.
Yeah, and I don't want to go too deep into this, but I don't think that that's wrong, though, right? I mean, there is, and this movie glorifies it. It glorifies war. There's no question about that, right? And I think that if you actually see it firsthand, how could you not be disgusted by it?
Of course.
And want to avoid it at all costs, right? So it doesn't surprise me that that's the way it turned out.
I think it's fascinating, though, that I just think it's fascinating just psychologically in every other way.
Yeah.
If you actually went through war, you wouldn't be sitting around at home thinking rah, rah, go America, we're the best. We'll fuck some communists up, type Milius thinking.
Yeah, absolutely.
Waving my gun around just to make a point or whatever.
Which, as we know at this point, he did carry with him every day on set, which is just crazy.
But we're here to take on part 4 of our podcast on Red Dawn. Do you want to try to tell like what's happened? What's happening in general in the movie?
So the movie opens really quickly with bad guys parachuting down into Colorado. They murder a bunch of people. A couple of high school kids manage to make it into the mountains. They survive on some supplies and ammunition, but they ultimately need to go back in town to see what's going on.
Capri Suns and Campbell soup.
And some soda. Lots of soda.
Lots of soda.
Lots of soda and drinking deer's blood.
Yeah.
They ultimately need to go back into town where they learn a lot about what's going on. A lot of chaos happens. Dads die, mass graves, chaos ensues. But the Wolverines emerge from the chaos and they take the fight back to the Russians. At some point, an American fighter pilot is shot down. Powers Booth plays this character, and he becomes sort of almost the elder statesman of the Wolverines in a way.
Sure.
They take the fight back to the prison camp where all the good Americans are living. They free the prison camp. We don't exactly know what's going on, but Powers Booth and everybody ride off into the night. Powers Booth has a new bottle of liquor.
He has a drinking problem, that Powers Booth.
I
His
feel like he
character
does. He
anyway.
does, yeah.
Yeah, he's like constantly. Later on, he's pounding moonshine. We'll get to that. But so yeah, it's the morning after the big raid on the re-education camp. The Soviet intelligence officer, he's chewing out the guy, the Nicaraguan or Cuban who seems to be in charge, Bella, for letting a group of kids continue to get the better of him.
Yeah.
There was some random dude being lowered on like a rope in the background, and I wasn't sure if that was like I feel like it was like a communist soldier that got like lynched up or something like that because they seem to be taking him down with care.
That's
Whatever.
that was in the guard tower, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like yeah, exactly.
So, and we also see they've got some prisoners like they're lined up and being shot, like executed or whatever. The guys
last of them,
I guess, who didn't escape.
Yeah.
For some reason.
Yeah.
So Bella says the executions, are only serving to fan the flames of rebellion. He's not wrong. He says, I used to be a rebel fighter just like the Wolverines. Now I'm an oppressor. I don't like, and he doesn't seem to like it. He goes storming off. The foundation is like starting to crumble here. I feel like this is like when the Russian crowd started cheering for Rocky.
Yeah,
the fuck is going on around here? But the Wolverines, they have like a little Sandlot football game going.
Which I love because in episode 1 we were talking about like they steal the football. Like
finally been paid off.
It's paid off.
It's the worst football field you could imagine because it's like on a down slope and it's unlevel and everything like that. But Charlie Sheen, he puts a big old hit on Powers Booth, who appears to be in pain. This hurts my like old bones just looking at him like getting knocked down or whatever. But now comes the part of the movie where things turn kind of creepy.
Yes, a little bit.
So the girls wander up to see, are you doing all right? Leah Thompson's like trying to help him up, but it said he pulls her down on the ground with him. So Jennifer Grey takes a cue. She's like, oh, it's time for me to leave you two alone. I'll just be over here while you're trying to like fuck this older dude or whatever. So Leah Thompson asks him, how old's your wife? And he says, oh, she's old like me. And then Leah Thompson,
doesn't he say like a million years old?
Yeah,
she's
something like that.
Million years old.
Just like me. So Leah's in like, what's she like? And he says, oh, she's feisty like you. And then it starts to tickle her.
Right.
Which is creepy as fuck.
Which is so weird.
It's a bizarre seduction on so many levels.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then Leah's like, how'd you meet? And he's like, we met in a closet at a party. Which sounds like, were they like fucking in the closet, hooking up in the closet or something?
I didn't really understand. We met. It was like
it was strange.
Okay, whatever.
I assume that means that like it was sort of like go in the closet and make out with a stranger, sort of
like
situation.
7 Minutes in Heaven. But what are we in high school? Like it was so bizarre. Yeah.
So then he's like, oh, I couldn't stand her at first, but now I love her so much it hurts. So then Leah Thompson's like, okay, do you still love her like that?
Mm-hmm.
And he wants to know, why do you want to know so much about her? And I honestly, it's like, I like how she's like, I like how much he loves his wife. That makes me really hot.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
It's weird. But Charlie Sheen wanders over. He's like, you guys playing football or what? And Leah stops and screams like, no, no. Can't you see I'm trying to fuck this guy?
It was so weird. That whole situation, especially given earlier in the movie when he's looking at the rocks where the victims have been etched into the rocks, and she's got the bouquet of flowers, and she giggles and titters and runs off. It's like, okay, so is there like a romance going on here? Like, what is going to happen?
Absolutely, I think, right? But it's weird and creepy.
Yeah.
So later on, the entire gang's hanging around at the Masons' cabin.
They do. They go back. They go down
back,
from
right?
the mountains.
That's the girl's grandparents from earlier. So it's nice to see they put up all the Christmas decorations. That was weird. I was like, oh, they're festive.
No matter who is besieging your ranch, it's never too dark for Christmas.
So Mr. Mason, he's telling Patrick Swayze that people in town are starving and they want to smuggle their kids out to you to like join up with the Wolverines or whatever, which seems like a fucking surefire way to get discovered.
Oh my God.
And massacred or whatever. But Swayze's like, I got my hands full. Mr. Mason's like, you're a leader now, which is fucking weird.
Yeah.
So Mason says, the communists and the people all over have heard of you and they know who you are, which I guess is cool to be famous or whatever. But Mason then says that, there's rumors that when the spring comes, the Americans are planning to drop a team of special forces soldiers in to link up with the Wolverines, which is weird for Mr. Mason to know.
I know. Like, how did he get this information?
Where do you get your intel from?
Who is this Mason guy?
Mr. Mason.
And like, why isn't
all coded messages?
I know. Joe's mustache is large or whatever it was. I mean,
but this all gets Powers Booth so pumped up that he's got that jar of moonshine. And he's like, oh, fuck yeah. Let's all get shithoused. So now Swayze says, spring's a long way off still. And this is all just talk. Which fair point.
He's not wrong.
Yeah, dead ass right. Like making it through the winter unscathed seems like a long shot.
Yeah.
So now a title card tells us that it's January. Barren, snowy landscapes, like some fucking Bob Ross painting type of shit.
Yeah.
The Wolverines are all clad in their white winter camo, which
we're just gonna assume they got it.
They must have stolen it off of people they killed.
Right. There's no point in worrying about it.
Yeah. So they're watching as this fighter jet strikes tanks or whatever, and one of the dudes is screaming like, "It's ours!
It's ours!"
And someone's like, "How can you tell?" And I think the fact that it's like striking a communist tank is probably an indication. But Powers Booth confirms that it's an American jet. More jets are coming in. They're dropping bombs on unseen enemies in the distance. It's like some napalm shit.
And it's just on a ridge, and it's the same explosion. The sense that I got when I was watching it was like they had enough money to do a explosion. Like, that's it.
Okay.
We can only film this one time.
So it's like wide shot, close up, and then we flip the film over.
Yeah, exactly. And so we see the same explosion 4 times over and over again, but it's supposed to be an array of explosions right on the boundary line between the contested land and free America on the other side of all of these explosions occurring.
And all I could think about was that famous John Milius line, "I love the smell of napalm in the morning."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But it would have been great to see troops moving around down there or something like that, because we're not seeing really anything.
No.
But I think the way it is also kind of accurate. I've heard stories from World War II veterans where they're like, I never saw a German soldier. We were fighting against them and shells were dropping all over, but I never saw a German.
But movies are a visual medium, right?
Right. You need to show us.
Yeah. And so
otherwise, what are we here for?
And so we're watching this.
Oh, they're fighting down there.
They're fighting down there. We can't really see what's going on. There's a few explosions, but there's no real drama.
I mean, the dogfight earlier, you didn't see anything.
Right. No, exactly.
It's just I hear noises that would indicate that something's happening. I don't know.
Yeah.
in Top Gun, you see this up close fighting, but I think in real life dog fighting, someone might be a mile away from you and you're shooting your missile at them.
Yeah.
And they're a speck on the horizon.
Right.
You know
exactly.
what I mean? Like,
yeah. And so, like, from a realism standpoint, this battle is actually probably pretty
Right.
accurate, but from a movie drama standpoint, it's actually kind of boring to watch. I'm not going to lie.
no, you're right. You're right. So now it appears, I take it this is like the Western Front where,
It's got to
where
be.
the communists and the Russians are fighting like high up in the Rocky Mountains
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah, it's got to be.
And it seems like Powers Booth is planning to try to sneak out. And he's sort of saying, like, yeah, I'm going to sneak out, whatever, rejoin the troops, I guess, on the other side of the line. You're just Swayze and I guess the others, right? You should come with me and you can stop fighting.
Yeah.
And Swayze's like, no, we can't walk away from the fight and abandon Calumet to its fate.
This tiny, small mountain town.
Which, I don't know. Honestly, like, I feel like Powers Booth, though, is kind of right.
I was on his side.
Even just surviving the winter,
Yeah.
living in the mountains is like a long shot, I feel like.
Well, just from a purely pragmatic standpoint, get out, meet up with Free America,
Feed them all the intelligence.
feed them all the intel,
Yeah.
and then re-up. Do
come
another
back
tour if you want to come back in,
For
right?
sure. That's
yeah.
what I felt like,
Yeah,
too.
exactly.
But now, just then, a camouflaged Soviet tank comes rumbling up behind them. So they start scrambling for cover. They hide behind some big rocks. The tank stops like just above where they are and starts firing down onto the battlefield below, like right over the Wolverines' heads or whatever. And then another tank rolls up and starts raining shells down on the battlefield too. And it seems like neither of them, I guess, have seen the Wolverines necessarily.
This whole scene was phenomenally confusing to me.
Okay.
It wasn't clear to me if those tanks were looking for the Wolverines or if they were trying to take out the one American tank on the opposite ridge. But at one point, one of the characters, I don't remember who it was, says
Yeah.
they're looking for us.
Yeah. And then Powers Booth is like, you're right.
You're right.
Or
Right.
some
Exactly.
shit, something like that.
Yeah.
Now, I guess American tank that's down on the battlefield starts shooting back.
Mm-hmm.
The Wolverines are in a bad spot. You're like caught in the crossfire of a fucking tank battle. So one of the Wolverines, probably Danny, like he started losing his shit.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
I can't do it anymore or whatever. And Powers Booth tells him, like, you take the others and run out of here. And then he jumps up onto the tank and starts, like, with his handgun, shooting down into the little, like, the windows or whatever of the tank. Like, bang, bang, bang. Hero move for Powers Booth. And honestly, at first I was like, I don't really think you need to be doing this for the Wolverines to scamper away. Then I realized he's doing this to try to help the other American soldiers down on the other tank or whatever.
Yeah.
But so Arturo, he jumps up, follows Powers Booth, who's like, dude, take cover. But Arturo gets gunned down by the machine gunner or whatever on the other tank.
Almost immediately.
And now for the first time in the whole movie, someone calls Arturo Aardvark. I think it's Leah Thompson was like, Aardvark!
Aardvark!
No.
Yeah, which is like,
It's too late.
I remember pausing
that.
at that point going, okay, did anybody at any point
I don't think so.
in this movie call him Aardvark?
I don't think so.
Okay. So I'm not crazy because all of a sudden he's dead and they're now calling him Aardvark.
Right, he doesn't get called Aardvark until he's dead already.
Right, exactly.
So now the Wolverines, they shoot that other tank with an RPG.
But I love
One of them
though-
screaming, "Eat me!
Eat me!"
Eat me!" Rad 80s dialogue.
Uh,
So someone inside the remaining tank then tosses like a frag grenade
Yeah,
out,
yeah.
and it blows up and it wounds Powers Booth mortally. So Leah Thompson, she wants to go to his aid, but she gets held back. Powers Booth, he's like with his dying breaths, he pulls the pin on like a smoke grenade and plants it on that tank to help make it like more visible, I guess, to the other tank
Right.
far off or whatever.
right, I guess that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So Swayze is like, oh, fuck. We got to get out of here, go find cover. They all run for it. The American tank zeroes in on the Soviet tank and blows it the fuck up.
So Aardvark apparently,
Yeah,
and Powers Booth's character, they're done.
annihilated, I suppose.
They're done.
Later on, the Wolverines are mourning the loss of Arturo and Powers Booth. Leah Thompson's crying and saying she's never going to love anybody again.
Which is like, okay,
Weird.
so I want to pause here
Okay.
for a second. There is context for this, right? Because in the movie that we have seen, that we have been talking about to this point, there has been the vaguest of mention of creepy romance between Leah Thompson's character and Powers Booth's character, but it never goes anywhere.
Yeah.
There's apparently an entire storyline that was filmed
Oh, yeah.
that they cut from the final movie. Because when
Like
they
scene where they're hooking up or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah, there was a scene where they were hooking up, and it tested so badly with test audiences that they cut it from the movie.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how we debated, right, how old the girl characters are
Yeah.
supposed to be. It meant but Powers Booth was like upper 30s.
Yeah, yeah.
And Leah Thompson was definitely like lower 20s.
At her
So,
oldest
at her
was lowest.
oldest.
Yeah,
Right. So even in real life, it was like 14, 13 years
yeah,
age difference.
exactly.
And I feel like it just gave everyone the creeps.
it did.
But also, like, we're sitting around talking about his wife and everything. Like, we don't know if she's not alive or
right,
not.
we never establish if Powers Booth's wife is alive or dead.
They said that apparently, like, this was Leah Thompson in an interview, talked about like
Okay.
there was a beautiful love scene that they filmed,
Oh,
and they took the scene out of the movie, as you said,
yeah.
because the audience were just like, "This is gross." I don't even know what to make of this.
Oh my god.
But yeah, so now she's mourning the loss of her one true love, I
Yeah.
guess. She's like saying, I'm never going to love anybody ever again. And then oddly, C. Thomas Howell says, if you didn't love anybody, you'd never even be here. What does that mean?
So the sense that I get is that if you were such a total nihilist that you just didn't give a shit,
Yeah,
that you just roll over and die,
I don't know.
like the reason that you fight is because you're fighting for someone you love. Like that was the
Right.
only thing that I could take away
Yeah.
from it, right? Yeah.
But it's an odd line.
But the thing that it felt like to me was that it was Milius or Reynolds or whoever wrote that line, probably Milius, who was like, okay, this is my Oscar line, right? Like this is
that.
this is the line that's going to get me the nomination.
If you didn't love anybody, you'd never even be here. This is odd. So now then Danny asks, should we bury Powers Booth? And right in front of her sister or whatever it is, Jennifer Grey is like, there's not much left to bury. It's like, fuck, damn it. That paints a picture. That's a tough pill to swallow.
I do. I mean, we're laughing, but at the same time, like there is an undercurrent of this movie. And again, I think it goes back to the original draft before Milius showed up and sort of turned it into more of a Dirty Harry, rah, go America movie that is deeply anti-war, right?
Right.
And I think that this is one of those lines that sneaks through.
Yeah.
That sort of it creates that odd juxtaposition between the war is good, war is bad.
Yeah.
And honestly, in an unintentional way, in my opinion, it's one of the things that makes the movie so interesting to watch. Right?
Sure.
Yeah. Anyway.
So now cut to a Wolverine's funeral,
Yes.
which was like such was his love of drinking that Powers Booth's grave is marked with his rifle and his flight helmet and an empty bottle of liquor.
So
It's just fucking wild.
I want to take this moment to say that grave marker was missing something, and it was missing a cigar. Because Powers Booth, in every single thing, this movie included, that I have ever seen him in, at some point he is chewing on a fucking cigar.
Which where in the you're right.
Yeah.
Where did that cigar come from?
Where did it come from?
Maybe he had it on him.
I wrote a note like, does Powers Booth require in his contract that there is a scene in the movie where he smokes a cigar?
It could be.
I have never seen a movie where he does not smoke a cigar.
So Danny is delivering this strange sort of prayer.
I don't know what
That's
that
the
was
thing.
supposed to be.
Where he's like asking God to take them away someplace where they can be little kids again and forget that this ever happened.
Yeah,
I don't know. It would have made more sense if they laid in earlier, like that. Oh, if Danny was like the preacher's son,
Yeah.
you know, or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Because it does seem like an odd blessing to be giving, and odd that Danny's all of a sudden like the voice of God or whatever, the voice of like holiness.
The only thing I can think of is that this is a moment of rare self realization of the innocence that he's lost.
Yeah.
Right? So like he wants to go back to being
Make them,
just
dear Lord Jesus, make them little again.
Right,
So they
exactly.
can forget that this ever happened.
right. That's the only thing I can think of.
Sure. I don't know if that's a standard blessing. I've never heard anything like that before.
I mean,
But-
I was raised Catholic, and Catholics love rituals, and that wasn't a ritual that I was aware of.
Yeah, same.
So,
Same.
anyway,
So later on, Charlie Sheen approaches Patrick Swayze, who's off on his own, like standing watch, it seemed like. And he says, everything's quiet. You know, you probably could use some sleep. Swayze's like, I'm fine. They stare off at the mountains as Charlie Sheen gets sort of philosophical with it. He's like, you know, it's strange. The mountains don't care whether we're laughing or crying. The mountains don't pay any attention to us at all. The wind just keeps on blowing or whatever, which is kind of good writing. I felt like,
it was it was a good moment
and good
Yeah.
work from Sheen, like
Yeah.
a glimpse into what he was going to bring to the table later on in Platoon.
Yeah,
Swayze's like, you know, we were bound to lose some people sooner or later, and Sheen is like, boy, you seem pretty short on emotion. And then Swayze's like, I can't afford it.
yeah.
And Sheen's like, you know, well, morale is kind of low with the people. I mean, everyone except for C. Thomas Howell is talking about sort of quitting, which I feel like at this point in time, the thing to do would be like, let's like try to get across lines and regroup with the Americans and
Yeah.
be safe again. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
like at least the people who want to leave, you can supply them and let them leave.
I mean, there's a reason why you do a tour of duty, right? They rotate soldiers
Yeah.
out because you reach a breaking point, right? Yeah.
So at any rate, Patrick Swayze is like, well, what do you think? You know, and he's like, I'm your brother. Just make it count. Which I don't even know what that means, except I think it's like, don't let us die for nothing.
Right. I think that's what that
Like,
line
I'm
was
ready to
supposed mean.
die, like
Right, but-
obviously, but like make sure it counts for something.
yeah.
So then we get a title card saying now it's February.
The thing that I do love about this is that every time they do the title cards, it's always these amazing vistas of the mountains of Colorado, right? I mean,
Mhm.
there are some really great just views in
Oh,
this
dude,
movie.
I'm
right?
a big mountain guy, and like
Yeah.
this like speaks to my soul, like seeing the scenery and
Yeah.
everything like that.
Yeah.
So that's a big part of enjoying this movie for me, is like even the barren winters, you know, and everything like that. I'm like, it's just so beautiful to me.
I know we talked about this in episode 1, but just the cinematography. I mean, I'm going to be honest, it's not the greatest shot movie ever. It's functional, but it's not beautiful.
I don't know if I mentioned this. I ordered the DVD
Yeah.
of the movie to prep for this.
Yeah.
And it was the shittiest transfer I've ever seen in my life. It must have been like a very, very old DVD, because it was one of the two sideds with like the 4x3 on one side.
Oh my god.
And the flip side, it was 16:9, but it was not enhanced for widescreen TVs. So I'm looking at now a screen with black bars on the sides and on the top and bottom.
Top. Yeah.
And it was like there were fucking cigarette burns like on it. It was like the worst transfer I've ever seen on any sort of disc. But I do feel like it was like the full experience
Yeah.
of like a movie theater like viewing of the film.
It is interesting, and we're getting really deep in the weeds here, but we're both old enough that we went to see movies back when they were on film, and they
Sure.
had multiple projectors, and cigarette burns were a real thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know
and
how that makes it into a print that is then sold.
How does right? I know it's such a weird thing, and I think that they actually take the films and they run them through just like a computer
Yeah.
that digitize them, and the cigarette burns come through. But anyway, we got way off track. But it's February.
Yes.
We get a couple of vistas here.
We got the Soviets. They're holding some sort of a parade in Calumet.
The weakest military parade I've ever seen in my life.
So I think the guy leading that parade was like the new commander who's arrived
Right,
with a new unit of soldiers.
Yes,
or something like
exactly.
that. He's wearing all his ribbons on the outside of his camouflage snow camo or whatever, which I thought was weird. But the townspeople are like sort of there unenthusiastically like waving Soviet flags.
Okay. So this is a weird thing. He's not in the credits, and someone please
This
like,
actor?
So there's a scene during the military parade that cuts to a random Soviet troop. I swear to God, it was Bruno Kirby. I watched it like 4 times.
Shit.
I got on IMDb. I was like, he's not
Ain't
credited.
No way. Unless he's like tight with Milius or something, and they're like, "Do you want to just
like
hanging around set one day? Do you want to be on film?"
But it was so
Bruno
odd because it was
Kirby.
cut to a random Soviet soldier.
Okay.
He's not doing anything. He has no lines of dialogue. He has we don't ever go back to him. But it is such a random cut. But I swear to God, it's Bruno Kirby. I swear to God.
At our next opportunity, we're gonna rewatch and see if it is Bruno Kirby. Bruno, no, he passed away a while
He did,
ago, I think.
unfortunately, yeah.
Sadly.
But a phenomenal
Otherwise, he could let us
actor.
know personally.
Yeah, a close friend with Billy Crystal. I mean, in so many of his movies and a ton of other things.
So,
Anyway,
we got the townspeople. They're looking on, sort of unenthusiastic about all this shit.
yeah.
Milius had said, I think, that he thought of this movie as like it's similar to a zombie movie. Like the Soviets came and they turned all the townspeople into zombies.
Oh, that's interesting.
Which I'm like, okay, maybe.
I can get
don't
behind.
know.
That's fun. I like that. Yeah.
So, after moving all of his ribbons from the outside of his camouflage to his normal uniform,
Yeah.
we got the new Russian commander.
Yeah.
He's appearing in front of a gathering of soldiers and he's briefing them on like how they're going to fight the Wolverines. This dude, the actor, I don't know his name, whatever, but he played Conan's dad in Conan the Barbarian. And he was like a real life, like he was a CIA agent who had been like deep cover in Russia and shit like that. Like he was an Air Force veteran turned CIA agent. And he's fluent in Russian.
Oh,
And everything like that.
wow.
Like this dude has lived a life.
That's
But-
awesome.
So he tells all the guys, I'm sick and tired of how the leadership is trying to sugarcoat the situation. We've been lying about having the Wolverines under control, and all of our lies have the stench of death and defeat. Like, right? So
This
he
is a great
says,
scene.
the only way to win a war is by destroying your enemy.
Yeah.
Fucking hard line. dude.
Yeah.
So he says, we're fighting Wolverines, small, ferocious animals.
Yeah.
It takes a hunter to defeat an enemy like that, and he's a hunter. He says, from now on, no more retribution against the civilian population, which was a bad idea from the get-go.
Right.
He's like, look, if a fox comes in and kills all your
Love this
chickens,
line.
you don't kill the pig because he saw the fox. You mimic the fox, you become a hunter, and you hunt it down and find it where it lives and kill it.
The thing that I love about this whole scene, there's two things that I love about this scene, because that's a great line.
Yeah.
You become the fox. Like that's great. But he's got all of these boards, because obviously this predates PowerPoint. So he's got all these boards with all these printed images everywhere. Some of them make sense, like some of the military tactics that are going on.
Okay.
The high school photos of the kids.
Yeah.
Sort of the topography of Calumet, Colorado. But there's this entire board devoted to the biology of Wolverines.
Yes. We got to do a deep dive on the Wolverine.
And there's like paw prints, and there's photos, and there's all of this random shit on this one board that I feel is completely unnecessary.
Yes.
But this guy is so steeped in the mythology of the Wolverines that he needs to understand the actual animalistic nature of this creature.
Absolutely.
And the other thing that I love,
you can't kill a Wolverine unless you become a Wolverine.
unless you become a Wolverine. And the other thing that I love, the sunglasses that Barrows is wearing.
Yes.
It is amazing. I mean, this guy has been rocking sunglasses through this whole movie. And the sunglasses, I swear to God, he was at like Studio 54 the night before doing lines off of some fucking coked up hooker, right? Like he was like 6 fucking whiskeys deep. And he's like, oh shit, I gotta go to this meeting with
briefing.
this dude.
Yeah. I wear my sunglasses indoors.
Indoors. And he shows up full military regalia with the most baller sunglasses I have ever seen. Amazing.
So then whatever the new guy is, whatever his name is, he gives a good speech.
Do you know who is? I don't even remember.
I don't know his name. It doesn't matter.
Did they ever say his character
He
name?
probably had a name, I'm sure.
It
but
doesn't even matter.
He's the Soviet guy.
Yeah, he's the Soviet
He's
guy.
like the head boss.
Right.
So now a squad of Soviet troops in snow camouflage, they're moving through the snow.
And they have a device.
They got some sort of high-tech device with them that's guiding them. We have no clue what's going on. But they're walking right into an ambush because the Wolverines are there waiting. They're like laid out with their guns, like fucking locked and loaded and shit. The Wolverines open fire. They lay waste to the Soviets. The shooting stops, and then we're hearing like a bunch of, it's kind of dark, like this moaning of injured. Yeah, C. Thomas Howell, he tosses his spent rifle, and he goes around with the shotgun, fucking sawed off, and he's just finishing dudes
Just
off,
like walking around.
which is fucking
This
grim.
This motherfucker is cold as ice.
That part feels more like murder than like actual war. Like executing wounded men is different than winning a battle.
That
you
is
know what I mean?
And the Soviet soldier. I'm jumping ahead of myself. Let's continue.
Okay.
Yes.
But Danny seems burned out on the killing. Like at some point, Swayze comes up and he's like, "Your gun's jammed."
Yeah.
As he's just standing over a wounded soldier.
He's clearly been like pulling the trigger over and over again. Nothing's happened. Yeah.
So later on, they take the one wounded soldier back as like a hostage. They're interrogating him at camp. There's a language barrier, which is funny.
Yeah.
Where I think it's Jennifer Grey's like, or no, it's Leah Thompson's like, "Sprechen Sie Deutsch?"
Yeah.
And then Charlie, she's like, "So what if he does? You don't speak German." They want to know basically, what is this device that led you to us? I want to know where the Wolverines were. Like, how did they know that these guys were coming?
I mean,
They
whole
were like
moment,
laying in wait.
right? Exactly. It was so weird, and I guess we could like script write and justify it, but the reality of the situation is that it needed to happen for the sake of the movie.
Maybe they saw him coming up the mountain or
I guess
something.
again, yeah, exactly.
Sure, I don't know, but it's never specified. So now they get a little rough with the dude, smacking him around. I think Leah Thompson puts a cigarette out on him or whatever.
From Charlie Sheen's request, like, put your butt out on him.
Yeah, it's fucking wild. He curses them with some broken English.
Hilarious broken English.
They kick him around a little bit. Danny doesn't like this shit. They're hurting him or whatever. The group is like starting to fall apart, I think is what we're getting here.
Yeah.
The tension is rising. We got Charlie Sheen, who somehow gets the device working, is beeping rapidly, like,
like, oh, it's in this direction. It's in this direction.
Yeah, it's weird. But so he seems to guide him as he approaches Darren Dalton, who's slouched over in shame. And Swayze grabs him and is like, what did you do? You know? And how are they tracking you? And he's like, they made me swallow it. Weird. He said basically he's snuck down into town to see his family, which Swayze's like, why, motherfucker? And he's like, because you said we couldn't, which was a weird line. Is that like, that's a shit answer? So Darren Dalton says, my dad turned me in. And he says they did things you can't imagine.
Right.
Which is dark.
So
they forced him to cooperate.
So this is my least favorite part of the movie. And I just want to take a moment to like address this, because there's so much that happened here that the movie just glosses over.
For sure.
Right? Like
huge plot points.
So he was gone for a while. Did they know he
was gone? Days they were torturing him, right?
Exactly. And he came back. Did he not have any wounds that anybody noticed?
It's like, where you been?
Right. Exactly.
Darren?
So there's so much happening. And I also think like this character would have been way more sympathetic if we had actually seen what was happening to him.
Yeah.
right?
That's what I wanted to ask you. Like, what are your thoughts on them skipping over all that?
Okay, so I think that it's interesting that it happened in retrospect, but I think it would have been stronger from a POV standpoint if we saw how much he endured, right?
Yeah, right.
Because at the end of the day, these are high school kids. They're not soldiers.
Yeah.
They've never been through boot camp. They've never been through any of this training, right? And in fact, Darren, he was the one who at the beginning of the movie is like, we should surrender, right?
Let's surrender, bros.
His dad is the one who's like Vichy France, right? So
Yeah.
like he is the weakest of all of them, and to try to sympathize him a little bit would probably have been a good idea.
Yeah.
So the fact that this all comes out of nowhere, it was my least favorite part of the movie. I mean, it was a
Okay.
vital and important part of the movie, but it was the weakest
It
part
moves
of
the
the
plot
movie.
along, but
It
it's
does.
like, wait, what? What happened
Yeah.
now? We
Yeah,
don't
yeah, yeah.
see off screen
Off screen,
a bunch of important shit
this
happen.
pivotal piece of information happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so now later on, they appear as though they're getting ready to execute the Russian captive as well as Darren Dalton
yeah.
by firing squad. The Russians is complaining this violates the Geneva Convention,
which
And
he's
so-
right about.
No, for sure. Swayze's like, I never heard of it. Whatever. Good delivery.
Yeah.
Like of the main cast, I feel like Swayze is the one who's really shining.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he sold the last scene as well, where he was like, "What'd you do?
Yeah.
What did you do?"
Yeah.
And he's selling this one as well. So the Russian's a fucking piece of shit, though.
Oh,
It's
he's
like, you guys parachuted in shooting civilians.
Yeah.
So don't talk about Geneva Convention.
oh, I know. This guy, I couldn't wait for the Russian to die, honestly. I was like so ready for him to go.
Yeah. Well, now Danny is protesting, saying, we can't execute one of our own. And Swayze's telling him, shut up. Swayze says, he betrayed the Wolverines. He led the Soviets to us. He's got to go.
Yep.
He orders everyone, pick up your rifles. Charlie Sheen is like, no, we're not doing it.
Yep.
So we saw, I think, this started when Arturo and Powers Booth died,
Yeah.
where like the group is starting to sort of crack
Yep.
under the pressure of it all now.
This is sort of the cracks in the foundation.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
So Charlie Sheen's saying, look, if we execute Darren Dalton, what's the difference between us and the Soviets? And Swayze's like, because we live here. Which is fair.
I mean,
Yeah, it's true.
All right. Yeah.
True enough.
Granted.
So Swayze draws his pistol. He walks over and just shoots the Russian.
yeah, he does without hesitation. really,
Yeah.
honestly.
Wild. Darren Dalton, he's begging for mercy. Swayze doesn't seem like he can bring himself to shoot that dude. Then C. Thomas Howell steps in and blows him away.
Yeah. Without hesitation.
And it wasn't even like a merciful killing.
No.
Because he shot him and the dude's still alive
Yeah.
and he's like stumbles over and grabs C. Thomas Howell and hugs him,
Yeah.
collapses, like leaving C. Thomas Howell literally with the blood all over him.
Yep. Yep.
So
It was dark. It was a dark moment.
yeah, dude. So they mount up on their horses and ride off. I don't necessarily feel like the others would forgive C. Thomas Howell for doing this thing, but that's never really mentioned. So now later on, Patrick Swayze, he's looking at pictures of two little leaguers on a thing and crying, which is weird. But also, who is it even supposed to be in the picture?
I
He's looking at-
assume.
was it Darren Dalton?
I guess so.
Was it Charlie Sheen? I don't know.
It was.
who
It
would
was
be.
unclear. I mean, I think the larger commentary
It's
is
the loss of innocence.
Is the loss of innocence, right?
Sure. I don't. At any rate, I feel like there's a massive age difference between like Sheen or Darren
Yeah.
Dalton, who are
Yeah.
still high
The
schoolers.
photo doesn't make
and
any
him,
sense in any
I
context.
don't feel like they would have been on the same little league team.
Yeah.
But they, like, if it was Darren Dalton, who I feel like it should be,
Right. That's what I thought.
they weren't friendly with each other.
No, they weren't.
Like earlier, he's like, "You jock," or
yeah.
whatever, quarterback, Mr. Quarterback. Like, not friendly to the point that he's been carrying a picture of them as children in his wallet for years.
The only thing that I can think of is that they were the best of friends when they were kids,
Right.
and they went in different directions.
but they seem like they had beef
right.
at the beginning. But like now we see he's got a picture of them as kids in his wallet.
It's a weird thing that they didn't need to do this scene, in my opinion. It was
odd.
It was the most like the scene before when they kill the Russian soldier and they kill Daryl's character.
Yeah.
It was the most profound scene of the whole movie.
Okay.
I mean, like, to me, that was the apotheosis of the concept of the loss of the way that war destroys innocence, right?
Yes.
On multiple levels. The way that Patrick Swayze can't kill his friend, the way that C. Thomas Howell's character is willing to kill his friend, the ruthlessness of the Russian soldiers, like just complete inability to accept responsibility. But that scene was actually impacted me. Like that affected me, right?
Yeah.
But then the cut to the scene where Patrick Swayze is clumsily trying
Like
to open this photo.
Yeah. This is the part of the movie more than any other part that to me illustrates it's an example of the movie's got like weird pacing.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Like sometimes it'll blow right over really important shit.
Yeah.
Like Darren Dalton winding up captive and snitching and like swallowing the homing device or whatever.
10-minute scene. Like easily could have been 10 minutes.
And then we're like lingering on these quiet moments. Like I stopped the movie first of all, I'll say I don't have a problem with long movies.
Yeah.
But I feel like this one could have been a lot shorter.
Right.
And it would have probably been for the betterment of the movie or whatever. But like, I also don't have a problem with movies lingering on quiet moments.
If it matters.
But when you're doing that, but you're also blowing past important shit, then it's like, wait, what's happening here?
Right. I agree.
I timed the shit from the time they killed Darren Dalton to the next time anyone like says anything. It's like 2 full minutes of screen time, and like we said, 20 seconds of which is like him fumbling to get the wallet, like the photo out of the wallet, and unfold it, and he's looking at it. And I feel like in a better paced movie, you just cut to he's got the picture out already.
Got the picture out already, or just cut that out, right? Because we haven't really built a relationship.
We don't even know who this is.
Exactly. We haven't seen this photo before. We have no context for it. The scene before was strong enough as is. They should have just cut to black and moved on to the next story moment. And again, it is the weakest part of the movie, and it should be the most impactful part of the movie.
Yeah, it's like the biggest, the poignant moment that moves us on into Act 3 or whatever.
Exactly. And it was such a shame because that scene was so powerful, and then we cut to Patrick Swayze fumbling to open a photograph of a guy we don't have any context.
We don't know who it is.
We don't know who this is.
It might not be Darren Dalton. I don't know.
Right, exactly. So
it doesn't make sense that if they're 4 years different in age, they were on the Little League team together.
Exactly. So it was just it was like this moment I was like the pathos of what was going on, and it was completely undermined because the next scene completely took me out of it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
no, I'm with you.
Anyway, I feel like that's a good stopping point.
Yeah, no, I'm tired of talking about it. so we're gonna put a pin in it.
All right,
we're gonna come back next week. We're gonna finish off the last chapter of our breakdown.
And I will
Red Dawn.
And I will finish off my second bottle of wine.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
Let's see how drunk we get, because I'm pretty drunk.
I'm pretty drunk. Now. I'm good.
I got half a glass left. You got half a bottle.
I got
left.
well, no, I got like close.
But no, until next time, dear listeners, keep your friends close and your commies even closer.
Even closer.
Yeah. And we'll be back.
We'll be back.